Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit that subscribe button if you're new so you don't miss any of our great football content this season. Well, they won 26-0 today, and Darnold didn't play well. You almost can't count the game because they were starting a rookie quarterback from Minnesota. But Sam Darnold today had one of those games where he was out of rhythm. Passes were getting knocked down. They win 26-0. It was not pretty. It was very close through three quarters. And the only reason, that was a classic example where Brian Flores put the heat on Sam, and he got out of rhythm and looked bad.
Well, because what does Minnesota have? They have an NFL playoff level defensive coordinator, a playoff level defensive scheme.
Yep.
I have a lot of respect for Flores because, again, these are human beings. If you're on the defensive unit, you start getting to late November and their quarterback situation is what it is. How you stay focused. Those guys are still playing their ass off. With the quarterback today threw one of the worst picks you'll ever see. And in fairness, he has no business playing. But it's like Minnesota is a great example of they have incredible coaching in their quarterback play. I don't watch much Titans football anymore, but can't be much. It's got to be the worst in the league, right?
For the record, go look at the mock drafts. Okay, Minnesota's too good to get a top 7 or 8 pick. Dante Moore's probably going to stay at Oregon where Phil Knight can write him a $4 million check and he can keep getting snaps and he loves it and they'll win a bunch of games. Mendoza's going high. I don't know if anybody else is a top 12 talent. I really don't. I don't. I think Ty Simpson at Alabama's a second rounder, maybe late first. I don't see it.
That seems high. To me, he's closer third, fourth.
Yeah. So I like Jaden Mailata, late second, early third. Okay, the USC kid. So my takeaway on this draft is, you think I'm crazy? I would go get Mac Jones. You won't have to give up a first round pick because you do have to pay him a little bit. But if you're Minnesota, you can't go through this again. You have too good of players: Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. I'm sorry, you have a left tackle that's already had a major injury. How long are you going to be able to keep Brian Flores? If you're Minnesota, I'm watching today, and I'm like, JJ McCarthy, forget the inefficiency. He can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
You have to go get somebody. I would go get Mac Jones. I really would. I think call Kyle Shanahan. You're going to have to give up probably a second round pick, but you can keep your first. But I don't know. I look at what Minnesota's doing, and I know that Kevin O'Connell, Sean McVay, Sean Payton, those guys are not the Steelers. They're just not going to wait until July to figure out their quarterback situation. Football season's here, and if you want to go to an NFL or college football game, Game Time is the place for you. The Game Time app just gives you the advantage back to you, the fans. It's a hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in a few taps. I love it. Easy to use. The Game Time guarantee means you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price, 100%. So they even let you preview your seat on the app. That's special. Plus fees are always included, so what you see is what you pay every time. Take the guesswork out of buying professional football tickets with Game Time. Just download the Game Time app, create an account. If you use the code Colin, COLIN, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create an account, redeem code COLIN, $20 off, swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today.
Yeah, listen, they had faith in a guy that, I'm with you. I think everyone's talking about his poor metrics that are comparable to Jamarcus Russell. His biggest issue right now is he missed all of last season where he couldn't have played if they wanted, and now he's got 3 different injuries, right? And some of them, the longest ankle injury in humanity. And then, listen, concussion, sometimes guys fly back on the plane.
Right.
And clearly he's out. But, it does feel a lot of people go conspiracy theory and be like, is he getting soft benched all the time? Which is kind of believable because of how poorly he's playing. And you just can't function with a high-priced team with high expectations with poor quarterback play. And the development, it's easy to learn on the fly when my team sucks and we have no expectations, right? Jackson Dart, once it was clear the Giants weren't going anywhere, you can just figure it out. The Vikings won 14 games last year, and we're 60 minutes away from the number 1 overall seed. So even if they were going to take a step back, I think it's very fair to go, well, at minimum, we should win 9 or 10 games and be in the mix to get a wild card spot. And they're not even competitive in these games anymore because they can't get first downs. So, yeah, I think the power that the 49ers are going to have, they signed him to a 2-year, $7 million contract. you've been in more negotiations than me, but I've always heard the most powerful words are no. And the one thing
Yeah.
the 49ers can keep saying is, nope, we're good. We'll keep him because his value to the Niners is pretty high. Mac
Yep.
Jones saved the Niners season. So it's like, okay,
No
Minnesota,
question.
like to me, a second round wouldn't be worth it. Maybe second, a player, maybe a fourth. Like I'm going to need a lot because his value to my franchise, given how little money he makes and how I know how well he can play in my offense, he's worth more to me than he is to everyone else. And clearly he'd be worth a lot to you because you could function. So I think the 49ers have a ton of leverage with a backup quarterback who, like, we'll see if Purdy can just make the rest of the year. Even this year, he's wearing this brace on his arm. Like, he's not exactly built like Josh Allen. So
Right.
I think we got a long way to go. And if I'm the 49ers, it would take a lot for me to just send him your way to be your starting quarterback and save you. So the J.J. McCarthy pick, it's got a chance to be an all timer because that's that whiff. Sometimes like Penix, I was high on Penix. Clearly, he wasn't as good as I thought, and then also the injuries. Like I had people texting me that like, listen, John, that never liked him. The problem is our doctors were very uneasy with the amount of injuries he had in
Yeah.
college, and then he hurts
Yeah.
himself again, the same injury he had multiple times in college. Like he was off boards, where JJ was just a polarizing prospect, right? When you play
Yeah.
the scouting meetings at Alabama in their heyday, like Mac Jones. He's playing with 4 first round wide receivers. And really, every team he's playing, beside maybe one, it's such an advantage to Alabama. Michigan, even I saw Urban Meyer on Big Fox on the pregame show was like, listen, they went over each of the Michigan Ohio State games the last 4 years. He said the one game that I can't really hold against Ohio State was the year that they won the national championship. Michigan had the best team in the country. No one would
Yeah.
argue that, and they should have won that game. That's what JJ won a game against Penn State where they didn't throw it in the second half. We
Yeah.
used to talk, a lot about Jimmy Garoppolo. Remember they won a NFC championship game. He didn't even attempt a ball. That's unheard of. That's not the way people play football anymore. So I don't know. They took a swing and it looks like it blew up in their face really quick. Like it blew up in their face fast.
Yeah. And Minnesota's always been like the Kansas City Chiefs, a really solid, well-run team that's always either in the playoffs or on the precipice of getting into the playoffs. They've won with, they've won with a lot of different quarterbacks and a lot of different styles. But I don't know. I think they would go big game hunting. I mean, I'll just say this: if I was an older quarterback, Aaron's too old now, and Stafford's not going anywhere. Kirk Cousins feels washed. But if I was an older quarterback or a veteran quarterback, like I've said it on this podcast and on my show, I'm Joe Burrow. Can you force your way out? I mean, honestly, it's. I look at Joe Burrow sometimes and I'm like, oh, I feel so. That's why I always. I mean, Carson Palmer and Joe Burrow are two of the greatest quarterback prototypical talents in the last 30 years. One got to a Super Bowl. What if Carson Palmer ends up with Andy Reid? What if Joe Burrow ends up with a Harbaugh? Like I feel so bad, even though Joe Burrow looked good the other night. I think Minnesota's in a bind, and I don't know what you do. Mac Jones feels like the best answer in a dilemma that I'm not sure has an easy solution.
The problem for Joe is that owner's kind of proven to be pretty stubborn, and his answer is always no. Ask Carson. Turns out Carson is, the next Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay, just dominating high school football in California at Santa Margarita. I
Yeah,
can't imagine being a high school player being like, yeah, I know more than my coach, and it turns out I'm playing for Carson Palmer. I mean, those kids got pretty lucky. Turns out
right.
Carson Palmer. I mean, I don't know how he's made a lot of money. But if he really wanted to dip his toe into doing this, he'd be a big time coach really quick in college football. The Trojans, if Lincoln were to ever leave, I mean, I'd be all over that guy.